Hello. We will be doing Spring Boot interview questions, part 1. So, first question is, uh, what is Spring Boot and how does it differ from Spring Framework? So, Spring Boot is a framework designed to simplify the setup and development of new Spring application. It helps you create a standalone production ready application with minimal configuration. Here is a simple breakdown. So, traditional framework, it is a comprehensive framework providing a wide range of features for building Java application, right? So talking about configuration requires significant manual configuration. Flexibility offers great flexibility but need more setup. Talking about Spring Boot, uh, simplified setup, automate the setup of Spring application, reducing the need for boilerplate code and manual configuration. Pre-built configuration, so provides default configuration for common functionality, making it easy to get started quickly. So it has embedded server, comes with embedded server like Tomcat or JT, so you don't need to deploy workflow separately. In essence, Spring Boot streamlines the development process, letting you focus on writing business logic rather than dealing with extensive configuration. Clear? So, second question: how do you create Spring Boot application? So, for creating a Spring Boot application, set up the project. Use Spring Initializer. Go to start.spring.io, a web-based tool where you can generate Spring Boot project. Choose project setting, select project type, Maven or Gradle, language Java, and Spring Boot version. Add dependencies, choose the dependencies you need. Example: Spring Web, Spring Data, JPA, and there are so many dependencies you need to choose. Generate the project. Click the generate button to download the project as a zip file. Import the project. ID, open your favorite ID like IntelliJ IDEA or Eclipse. Import the downloaded project as Maven or Gradle. Write your code. Main class, find application class, usually annotated with @Spring Boot application. This class contains main method, which is the entry point for your application. Controller services, so you need to write controller services, controller class and services class. Create your controller class to handle web request and service class to handle the business logic. So as we know, business class in service class we write business logic. So the final task is run the application. Right click in application class and choose run, or use command line with Maven Spring Boot run or Gradle boot run. So these are the steps we have to run Spring Boot application. So now the third question is, what is purpose of is @Spring Boot annotation? The Spring Boot annotation is a convenient shortcut in Spring Boot that bundles three key annotation together. Spring Boot, the first one is @Spring Boot configuration. This is a specialized version of configuration in Spring, indicating that this class can be used to define bean and application context configuration. The second one is @enable auto configuration. This tells Spring Boot to automatically configure your application based on the dependencies you have added, like setting up a web server if your Spring Boot starter web is present. The last one is the component scan. This allow Spring Boot to scan the package of the class with the annotation like it is sub package to find the registered string component like @controller, @service, @repository. So that is the stereotype annotation that there are 5 stereotype annotations that we will cover in the next part. So in simple term, @Spring Boot application makes it easier to start a Spring Boot application by combining the common configuration in the one annotation, reducing the need for boilerplate code. Last question I have, how does Spring Boot handle dependencies and version? So the question that we are covering is the frequently asked question in interviews. In the next part I will be covering some more questions. Okay, so How does Spring Boot handle dependencies and version management? So Spring Boot simplifies dependencies and version management through its starter and dependency management feature. So the first one is starter. Pre-packaged dependency. Spring Boot provides starter dependencies that bundles together commonly used libraries. For example, Spring Boot starter, where we have that include everything you need to build web application like Spring, MVC, Tomcat, etc. So convenience, by using starter, you don't have to manually add and manage any other dependencies. Spring Boot handles it for you. So adding third-party dependencies, so you need not to handle that by yourself. Spring Boot takes care of it, right? So version management, so automatic versioning is also there. Spring Boot manages the version of the dependencies for you. When you choose a specific Spring Boot version, it automatically use compatible version of all the libraries included in your project. No conflicts. These helps avoid version conflict and ensure that your project uses stable and compatible libraries. In simple terms, Spring Boot takes care of adding, managing the right version of libraries, so you can focus on building your application without worrying about dependencies issue. So this is the first part. We will be covering some more question in the next part. So thank you.